Welcome to the Innovative Systems Podcast, Broadband Breakdown, where we dive into real-life challenges broadband leaders are facing and help them find solutions. This is your space for innovative ideas and expert solutions. Let's get started.
Welcome and thank you for joining today. Today I have the pleasure of introducing and talking with Ned Brody, CEO of Actifai, and our very own Scott Alcott, CEO of Innovative Systems. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Hey, Brian. Hey, Ned.
Hey, so super excited to talk to you both about AI, where things are going, and of course, what happened with the acquisition here. So we're going to jump right in. Ned, so excited to meet you and get a chance to talk with you about this, but I really want to know a little bit of background on where Actifai came from and, what the idea was and how you became this focused on this BSP, this industry here.
Well, sure. First of all, Brian, thank you for having us. And it's great to be here and part of Innovative Systems. So about 5 years ago, we realized that there really was no artificial intelligence being deployed in the broadband space. It's a very big space, lots of players, highly fragmented, so lots of opportunities to influence lots of companies. And artificial intelligence, this is back before ChatGPT and everything came to the fore, really wasn't being developed for that space. And so we took a team of data scientists and software engineers, and we found a company called Hargray Technologies, which was a mid-market, about 80,000 subs operating out of the Southeast US, who wanted to take a chance and see whether they could use artificial intelligence to actually affect their operating profit. And so we built a prototype. We tested in the marketplace using randomized controlled experiments. It was incredibly effective. And on the basis of that, we started the company, named it Actifai, and went out to market. And that was probably by the time we finished that, about 4 years ago, and 30-some customers later, Innovative called and said, this looks like a great partnership. And we said, we agree.
I remember being at our time, the first time you guys had a booth, and you were doing some demos, and I think you were up on a small stage inside the expo hall. And I remember I took Robin Pooley from our team, and we went over and just like, what is this? Who are they? How's this going? And I remember we were all interested in what you had going on right when you hit the market. It was an exciting thing to see.
Well, it's you guys were prescient. You saw the future, hopefully. Look, I think the artificial intelligence means something different to almost everybody, and it's really hard to understand what it can do and what it can't do. And what we've been able to show over the last 4 years or so is that it really can affect the daily operations of broadband providers, from marketing to retention and to operations. And if you can do that, you can build a much more efficient and effective company for for every BSP. That's what we're out to do.
Now, Scott, I know at Innovative, we've been kind of going down the same path of where and how can we help our providers. So I know with your tenure here being about 7-8 months, tell me more about like when you came on board and what you saw about Innovative and the AI efforts that we were doing prior to Actifai.
Well, first, thanks, Brian. Glad to be here. And with my friend Ned, we're going to do some great things. And I think you guys laid it out. I came just about 8 months ago and I found a beautiful company, a fully comprehensive system. I've been in the industry, I don't know, Brian, about 38 years, and I haven't come upon a system quite of the expanse that I found at Innovative Systems. Soup to nuts, fully integrated, one data model. The people who came before me built something really beautiful for its customers. And what we've been focusing on is bringing telecom operating people like myself. I've dug holes, spliced cable. I've had every job in telecom, and all we're trying to do is boost the product and notice the moment. AI is here, and it wasn't lost on us, Brian, from the very beginning that having this fully integrated, fully comprehensive, one data model system of record with all of the data in it, that if we married it up with something like Ned described, a system that's been trained on millions of telecom transactions with AI, that together we could do something really powerful. Using our data together with their agentic capabilities, we just thought, what a moment to kind of take a new gear in the industry. And we intend to lead with that and move fast. And I just got excited about coming innovative systems and working with a partner like Actifai to bring the latest chapter in what's going to get unleashed in telecom. AI is disrupting everything. We just want to be at the front of the table, disrupting it for broadband service providers. And we think it's a marriage made in heaven to do this together. And Ned and I are finishing each other's sentences. And I think we both share, we're just thrilled about the moment that we can do these things together. And so, onward. And boy, it's an exciting time in our business.
Now, Ned, you get a random call or email from someone at Innovative or Scott. How did that come across when you first got contacted by the team here?
Well, we had a thesis going into this, which was artificial intelligence is best utilized, as Scott said, when you have a couple different things together. So every artificial intelligence system works with a combination of data coupled with models and then user interfaces and software to actually affect change in human beings' behavior. And so we had a thesis that the best place for all of that would have been, frankly, with a system of record, because you combine all of those things. And so we started getting calls from different systems of record. And what we saw in Innovative Systems was, frankly, a very complete system from soup to nuts, or from A to Z, however you want to phrase that. But that really opens up a lot of opportunities. So we, at least heretofore, have been focused on marketing operations because those were the places that gave us the biggest bang for the buck and didn't need a lot of the integration elements that really existed at systems of record or BSS-OSS systems. But when you look at what Innovative has, how it goes everywhere from where do I plant my fiber through the life cycle of the customer and the life cycle of the company, all of those open up different operational things. So, the limit of where you can deploy artificial intelligence is frankly unlimited. What you really look for, and we use this as a rubric, is if you can find some decision or operation that occurs with high repeated frequency, and where that decision or operation has real economic impact upon the bottom line of the company, and it's generally left to human beings or chance, those are great places for artificial intelligence. So whether it's what you offer a customer to save them or to make a first sale, or how you operate your network operations, or how you trigger an outreach for an upsell, all of these things are moments in the life cycle of a company and a customer set that reside within the data sets and operations that Innovative affects. And so if you marry the ability to take those elements and actually make actions out of them in an optimized way, with all of that data and software, you can really build something. So when we saw what Innovative Systems can really do from soup to nuts, we said, this is a great partner for us. The size was right, and there's just so many cultural fits between the management teams that just made sense.
And Brian, I would just add to that, when you think about the knowledge of the teams at Innovative Systems and what's been built into the tools, details matter. Being able at broadband speed to know the product catalog, the eligibility and entitlement rules, whether or not customers are in promo lockup, to see what their product and price is and their history, really relevant if you're trying to predict churn or to get customers on an optimum package where they're satisfied, and to lean out operations and that context that we have about a customer and its history, as Ned said, across the entire customer journey, absolutely allows us to manage customer operations, manage customer retention and churn proactively and reactively. It allows us to cross-sell and upsell, and it allows us to scale that and make it predictive and automated. And we're just thrilled about marriage of those two things and the power that can unlock.
Well, you hit everything I was excited to hear, and kind of leading me into where do you guys see some very specific applications for this in the next 12 to 18 months, as kind of both trying to implement it as leaders of a company, but also as people that have been in the industry, like Scott, you're 30 some years. Ned, you're long-standing industry time, both in data science and in telecom.
Yeah.
You know, what are you guys thinking? What are you seeing? What are some
Well, not so fast, Brian. First, I know Ned's going to want to say this, but he talked about why they chose innovative systems. The reason we chose our friends at Actifai is not just about future and what we want to do. It's about speed, because we're here now. A lot of people are talking about AI, but we thought Actifai was the right partner for us because, as far as we can tell, it's the only AI company trained only and for broadband customers that is up and running with AI agents in the market right now. Not promises, not roadmaps. And we are there together, open for business and selling things that help with getting new customers on board, whether it's in a customer service channel, whether it's through a digital channel, whether it's through door-to-door. We're here now, and getting going immediately was the first thing that attracted us. And I know Ned and I will finish each other's sentences on the future, but I'd love to let Ned pick that up. But I wanted to emphasize, this is not a PowerPoint vision partnership for things to make someday in the future. We're live.
Yeah, we always talk about vaporware in this industry of, selling PowerPoints, but it is exciting to see and have 30 plus active customers on your agentic products today, right, Ned?
Yeah, and one of the things is you can't go back. There's, I can't remember, a famous ad campaign for a camera company, but you can't go back and take pictures of your kids when they were 4, when they're now 20. You just can't go back in time. And so one of the things that matters is when you started this journey, and it's really about data. One of the things that everyone has used ChatGPT or Claude or one of the many interactive AI systems today, and they're really good at answering generic questions because that's what they're trained on. They're basically, every AI system has a set of data that tells it what it should be doing, and that's usually called the training data. And for most of the artificial intelligence tools that people use every day, that is, frankly, the corpus of all written English language. And that's great, except it doesn't tell you what you should offer a broadband customer who has a $475,000 house, 3 kids, works from home with their spouse, and watches a lot of downloadable TV. Because that training set isn't existent in the world, except with Actifai. Because when we started this, we realized that it takes hundreds of thousands of interactions with a consumer before you can build an effective model. And Scott referenced having millions of those transactions, because what we recognized 5 years ago was the only way to do that was to pool all that data by anonymizing it and using every interaction for the benefit of every customer to come. And so we have 3 million interactions where we know 1,500 plus data points about a consumer, what they were offered, what they were told in terms of the key selling points, what they bought, why they deferred. And that data set trains the artificial intelligence models to be able to help every new company, and hopefully every innovative systems new company, to make those decisions. But you can't go back in time and start collecting that. So you really, when Scott says, the moment is now, we're here now, but have been here for 4 years. And that gives us a tremendous head start on anyone else that's trying to do this stuff.
I'd also like to say, sometimes people say, oh, come on, just sell them the gigabit plan, right? And what we know is a couple of things. First, details do matter, and where the customer was, what their experience was, what their neighbors are doing. Not only do we make the right offer and maximize lifetime value of the customer, because sometimes that gigabit offer is wrong and they're going to turn off of it over price, okay? And we can prove that we're going to maximize customer satisfaction and revenue for the broadband service provider by being right. There's another thing, which is it's not just about being right. It's about supporting the customer service rep and giving confidence to the customer in digital channels that the choice they're making is right. So our tools don't just behind there do the intelligence and get to right. It pops up something that says, this is right for you. And let me explain why. 83% of customers who work from home who are in your neighborhood have also bought this. People feel like smart shoppers. And it starts to help a service rep be confident about what they're selling and why. and to feel that they're advocating the customer. Our tools are not just intelligent, they're also enabling. And I think that's a really critical point to make. As we look forward to the future, we go from supporting selling to traditional existing customer flows, moves, adds, changes, deletes, customer service interactions. Why did my bill change? We're going to be able to explain that instantly, and even trapped within an ACD. We will have auto attendant, and we already have products in the on deck circle, just waiting to be stubbed out for the mass market. We've already deployed for some big customers. Things that answer a phone in any accent you want or language, and get to some of those questions and answers. We already have proactive and reactive churn capabilities in management. But where all the volume is for our customers is when they call up with bill questions, service and support questions, want to move, make an add, a change, delete, upgrade, downgrade, side grade. Our tools are going to be able to, in plain language, hear them and support what the right action is and implement it end to end. And what we're busy with right now, Ned, right, is we're talking to our key customers saying, man, there's a sea of things in that customer journey that we can automate like this. What are the priorities? And some of them say it's dynamic dispatch. Some say it's helped me with retention. There's no end of portfolio of things we're working through. And ultimately, we're going to span the entire journey and spin these use cases up, kind of one by one, benefiting from our integration.
So Brian, Scott not only answered your questions about some of the things that we're going to do in the future, but he also answered the question, why innovative systems? Because when the CEO, after a month, can pitch better than I can, we made the right decision.
You trained me the right way there, Nick.
You might not have all the data. So, for example, the model he just gave you, which is, people say start at gigabit. I can tell you that that's the number one thing that people are trained on, because most people use business rules. So most companies use business rules. If you start with sell gigabit, you lose about 26% of lifetime value.
Wow.
Because there's a demographic out there that is going to hang up the phone or leave the website when you say the gigabit is $79, because that's way above their budget. The trick is knowing before you say gigabit whether they're going to take it or not. And then if they're not going to take it, if you know that, then offering the lower price plan, because you're going to make up in conversion what you lose in ARPU in that given state. So we know all those statistics. We've trialed all those things over the time. We have all the A/B testing. All of that math has been done. And that's, it's just, if you're a mid-market company, the ability to have that at your fingertips is just incredible, because you don't have Comcast scale to be able to do your own A/B testing. You don't have the software to be able to manage it and then implement it. And that's really what the AI is doing for you. It's making every mid-market company have the capabilities of the very largest competitors, which is important, because we all know that what's happening in this country is that more and more overbuilders are coming into the mid-market. And so where you might have had a monopolistic opportunity, now you are competing with one of the big people who has those tools, has those brands, has those technologies. So this is a way to frankly level up and play in that same place.
That is awesome. And I know you guys hinted at, and I love that you hinted at, I'm not going to press you further on what and when, Scott, though you know what's tempting me to do. I would like to kind of start wrapping this up, and I really want your guys' thought. Because this goes to a lot of C-levels within our industry and whatnot are listening to this. Any bit of advice, if you were in their shoes, on how to be prepared or what to be looking for as a leader of their companies? What would you each have to say?
So, look, I think from our side, I would say three things. One, be out in front and accept that the AI revolution is going to transform every business and lead from the beginning. I'm personally Claude coding to develop tools in our house that can support with back office in-house functions, market assessments, competitive assessments. Lead from the top and embrace where we're going. Number two, I think to get your company ready for the inevitable AI tools that are going to come, you got to get your data straight. Many of our customers have, all broadband customers have inconsistent data between their technical data, their billing data. They have to decide really what is their source of truth, including if they have integrations and third parties. They're going to need to get a mapping of their source of truth and decide to resolve conflicting data, because AI is not going to be able to figure that out. It's not self-evident which source of truth to pick, and it's not self-evident which data to choose if they're not reconciled. And so what you don't want is agentic AI robots running around at broadband speed with an incoherence. And it's really important to get your house in order. And third, I wouldn't be me if I didn't say, call us. We're ready to help.
I love it. So to summarize, be a change agent. Make sure your data is ready. I don't know how many times I've had customer conversations where you ask them, how do you describe a customer? And you get 5 different answers from the staff. CEO sees it different than the marketing person, than the operations guy. So, and then of course I love the, reach out and talk to us. Ned, what's your advice?
So it's actually remarkably similar, which is ironic. But one, it is data. You have to have your data in the right places, and hopefully that's in innovative systems or another well-documented data lake. We can actually help with getting it better in certain cases. So for example, we on average find 2 to 5% more homes that are serviceable by you as a company than are in your homes past file, because we do what the engineers would do by figuring out where the lines lay and therefore who's serviceable. And you can do that instantaneously with AI, and it obviously takes a long time for human beings. And the second one is go quickly. It's only advancing. The art, of AI in terms of effectiveness has probably doubled in February from what it was in December, which doubled from where it was 6 months beforehand. And what Scott said is, if you've never really done anything yourself, try it. Not to fix a term paper, but here's a challenge I give, and I gave this to the COO of a major company just yesterday, which is go to Claude or Gemini, whatever your favorite AI tool is, and see if you can build with no technology, no coding experience. Have it check your internet at home, check it every half hour, summarize it in an email that it's sent to you every morning at 7 a.m. And that should probably take you 1.5 hours to 2 hours to do with no coding experience, where before it probably would have taken you 50 hours. Those types of advancements are what really is happening all across the operational spectrum of your business. And if you don't start now, it's just much harder to compete in a year. So, I'm not going to be, Scott's commercially correct. Obviously call either one of us and we'll give you our thoughts, but just get started.
100%.
Love it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Great chatting with you, and I look forward to I'm lucky that I get to look forward to working with you guys a lot more into the future. So thank you again.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Ned.
Thanks you, Scott. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap for this episode of Broadband Breakdown. Got a problem you need advice on or a story to share? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay connected and keep pushing for progress in rural America.